I hoop these up and how they stitch out a little bit. I just want to show you. So we're using and tell me if you can't hear me, I'll scream loud. We're using a medium weight tearaway stabilizer. So whatever you have will work. And you can hoop up towels a couple. I don't hoop up the towel, but you can sew your towels a couple different ways. If you have a sticky stabilizer, you can hoop up your sticky stabilizer and use it to hold your.
Before you take it off.
Well, sticky. Yeah, it is very sticky, but I like this tape, and they sell this at Moore's in Mission Viejo. I keep wanting to say Mission.
Who had me box up 2 mugs?
You, okay.
You want me to put them up at the register?
Yeah, just tell Harry.
Or you can get it at
Jackie.
Where?
Michael's.
Jackie.
And it's called Rescue Tape. So it's RES-Q tape. Okay? It's double-sided fabric tape. So what I do is I put a piece in each corner on my little piece of hooped up tearaway stabilizer. You don't want to sew through it, so you want to make sure that you put it where your design is not going to be stitching.
Did you say it's double-sided?
It is
It
double-sided.
seems to stick when you put your finger in it.
Because I haven't taken the tape off yet, or the topping off yet, but it will. So I'm going to do that. Okay, now I'm going to take the paper off. If you guys want to help me, that's fine over there. And it sometimes doesn't stick. You have to rub it back down. You just want to keep picking at it until the paper lets go only. Yeah, I know. I just have to. There, you got that one. That one's there.
And the name of that paper again is Q.
It's R-E-S, and then a dash, and then a Q, and then tape. Okay, perfect. All right, so see how it's double-sided? So what you're going to need to make your bath hoodie, okay? You're going to need a hand towel.
Now it's part
Any color, and see how I made them all different colors? So you want to have your hand towel different than your bath towel. And you're going to need a bath towel. I'm going to show you guys how to fold this at the end. And what you're going to do is if you're making...
Floriani does have Stitch Perfection tape that's double-sided and water-soluble.
Okay, awesome. So we could use that too.
Oh, it's white. It's not pink. It's not the pink
Not the
one.
pink.
It's not the
This
pink.
is double-sided and
Okay.
it's water-soluble, so if you stitch it down and you can't get it out, it will.
Okay, perfect.
I got more.
Awesome. So George has more of that here, and that would work really great. You want a double-sided fabric tape. So what you're going to do is if you're making a baby or an infant or a toddler, you can get 2 hoodies out of 1 towel. So you would fold it in half lengthwise and cut it down the middle. My youngest grandson is 3 and he has a very big head. So I said there is no way that a hoodie like this is going to fit him. So I measured out 10 inches and I cut it down this way 10 inches, okay? And that the PDF? Yes, and that it's in all the directions. So that will also fit an adult or a teenager. So these are great for beach towels, pool towels. It doesn't have to be a bath towel. You could also use a bath sheet. Okay, if you want a bigger towel, you can totally do that. So once you cut it, you can either cut it ahead of time or you can cut it after. It doesn't really matter. But you want to sew down on the right side. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to find my center. So I'm going to fold my towel like this, and I would usually put a pin in there, okay? And I'm going to find the center of my hoop, which we know where that is because they're so well marked. And so I just lay my center and kind of line it up where that is, and I want that finished edge right up next to the edge of the hoop. Thank you. And then I just want to push it down into my hoop and press it onto that tape. And it's nice to know that Floriani has it too, because I have a hard time finding that. So I know some of the Moors are carrying both, so it's great if you have some options. I like options. And then I'm going to press it here, and it holds really well. And because it's a fabric tape, it won't pull the terry cloth and snag it. You know, we don't want to do that. Okay, so let me thread that.
Which design are you making?
I was gonna do the hedgehog. I mean, I keep saying that, the Boston, because you guys got the Boston, right? So on my embroidery sheet, my little thing here. Okay, so here's your, I think you guys got the one with the sunglasses and you got the one with, that's plain. So we'll do the plain one. Now I'm not going to show all of it because I'm sure you guys have better things to do than watch me stitch it out, but I want to go through all the steps so you understand how it works. So what it's going to do first is it's going to stitch a placement. Okay, so, oh, hang on. Yeah, not yet. So I'm going to set this, and I'm going to set this on the machine where it is. Now, I want this to be as close to my edge as I possibly can get it. So here I'm going to do that, and I want to do this, for those of you who have this option, it's going to show me where it's going to stitch. So it's actually going to, it should have there.
You just hit these buttons.
So see how close to the edge it is? It's showing me exactly where it's going to stitch it to. So make sure I'm as close to the edge as I can. And that's pretty good. I mean, if I could get a little bit closer, and so I may want to move my design down a little bit, but sometimes it'll kick you out of that hoop. So if it does, just go back to center. Okay, so I'm going to say okay, because I think I'm close enough to that finished edge. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Now I'm going to say embroider, and you'll notice the first step, all your steps show here on the Dream Machine and the Destiny if you own those, and it's going to stitch down a placement line. So we'll go ahead and do that right now. And so basically it's just going to stitch that placement line. Now if you were doing it on the 10 needle, if you have that, it's going to be sewing towards you, so your finished edge. And don't, I did sew through my finger. Do I belong to another elite club?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You guys, we have the most elite clubs.
6 needles twice.
Oh no.
One needle broke off into my finger.
People, when I posted my picture, my finger on Facebook, people start sending me their X-ray pictures. It was like a gore show after that. I was like, oh, this is a group I don't know I want to belong to anymore. But okay, so I'm just gonna trim that. So basically now what we're going to do is we're going to sew down we're going to lay down the black fabric. Now I'm going to let you guys pick, do you want black or do you want this wild?
Black.
Black, okay. All right, so we're going to lay the black in. Now right, you have to say it faster. So what I'm going to do is, you can just cut it to fit, but you see the size you need right here. So I'm just going to lay it on top.
Now, are the SVG files in your kit?
Yes.
For that?
So if you have, yep. So if you have the SVG files, you can totally go ahead and pre-cut those on the Scan-A-Cut, and then they're all ready. You can just fuse them down and just tack them down actually with. But you know, this terry towel works like a flannel board a little bit, so it just kind of holds the fabric in place. So I'm just going to go ahead and stitch it, and I'm not going to get my fingers underneath the needle on this, but I'm just going to make sure nothing bad happens.
What towels are you buying?
I get mine from Target, and they're really inexpensive. I think I'm paying, I'm not buying the cheapest, but you can feel my towels, and I love it. It's like a micro terry, and they're about $2.98 for a hand towel, and I think about $4.98 or $5.98 for a bath towel, which is cheap for a gift. So wouldn't this be fun to have that little Boston Terrier baby quilt and then give them a hoodie with it? I mean, I just think it's... So instead of since I don't have the SVG files all cut out here, I'm going to go ahead and stitch my ear on now, because I can cut all of it at one time later. So it's going to sew a placement stitch for my ear, because those are all also applique.
Did you get the topper?
I do have a topper. I just don't have any red fabric for my ears, so I guess I'll do white.
Now, which one is this?
That's a hedgehog. You can turn it the other way.
But you don't have,
It's inside out.
oh, God.
You can't see?
No, I can't see.
Oh.
No, the traffic is on
Yeah, you guys can pass that around.
What material did you use on the face on that?
That was scraps from my terry cloth.
Okay.
So I just use, you know, when I cut the 10-inch towel, I only end up with about this big of a strip left over, so you can't really make another hoodie, but you can use it for the front of the hedgehog there. So I am just going to lay this piece of fabric over where these are going to stitch, and now it's going to stitch down the inside of the ear.
Do you cut everything with ribbon or you just sew it all first?
I am going to let it do these 2 placements, and then I'm going to pull it out, and I'll cut some of it, but you would pull it out and cut all the way around it. And when you're cutting around it, you want to make sure that you don't snag your towel. That's why you want to use some scissors like this that can go along the bottom, and yeah. They have a couple names for them, like duckbill and
For the towel, it's on the website.
and it's also, you got it as a gift. This is your gift.
Not the hedgehog.
Oh, the hedgehog is a free. Is it not free? It's a downloadable on my
You
website.
know, I had one person say, wow, how beautifully digitized that was. What happened?
I knew you would.
Wow. So, hey, when you have to ask for it, it doesn't count.
Oh, sure.
Oh my gosh, you guys. Do you see what I have to put up with all day? Hello. All right, so I am cutting.
Your office.
Yeah. I am cutting around my ears, and I just want to be careful. I'm cutting backwards because I don't want to mess with this, but I want to make sure I don't cut my seam, you know, my thread here, my stitch line.
And
Thank
this
you.
is the 10-inch one.
This
No,
is,
this one right here.
that one is not. That one's cut in half. You want to get pretty close, but I don't want to unhoop it. So I did that at the first store, and everybody left me here sitting here.
I was doing that and the whole thing came out of it.
That's what I said. I was doing a demo. That's like the worst time to do it. Okay, so normally, you guys, I would go ahead and stitch around the Boston, but because I don't want you guys to be sitting here watching grass grow, I'm going to move along so I can show you. Okay. All right, so I'm going to hoop it back up. And so you're going to follow the directions that we so carefully wrote for you. And Randy perfected.
There we go. Oh, yeah, the we and the I really have.
It's like we have to take the trash out this morning before we leave, but he knows who we is in the first part of that sentence.
Especially
We
trash.
are digitizing on the you know who we is.
Do we all do that? Do we all do that? Okay, thank you very much. Okay. All right. So now it's going to go around and satin stitch around our ears, but I don't want you guys to have to wait for that. So we're going to skip it. The way you skip forward, I don't know if you guys know that, but you do the plus and minus and you just drop down. So it's going to do the eyeballs now. Then it's going to do the brown in the eyeballs because those are all embroidered. And then it's going to do the black around, okay? And then the next step is the white blaze. Okay, so if you're using white over black, what I do is I just double up my fabric because I want it to be nice and clean. You know, I want it to look good. Yeah, so, but I just want 2 pieces. So I'm just going to go ahead and lay like 2 pieces in here. And first I'm going to let it stitch down the placement stitch.
Desiree,
Yes.
I heard you someone
In a very nice way? Oh no, they can't carry handicapped people in the sports car.
And a lot of things.
She's too sharp.
Yeah,
It's only
that won't be you, honey.
Is right.
Okay, so now I'm going to set down my piece of double white here, and it's just going to stitch this down now. And then you would go ahead and pull this out when it's done, and you would trim, and then it's going to do my paws, and I'm not going to do that. We'll skip over that so I can show you the part that you need to know.
So what age do you go up to with the hat?
I would think like, 2 or 3. I mean, I would think that would be good. You can even make it a little bit bigger. It's just if you're trying to conserve, a lot of times people want to make 2 and 1. But if you're doing it for a newborn, there's no reason you can't do it for, get 2 out of 1 towel. For me, $2.98 is a small investment, so my grandson could actually use it. So he has you know, at first we were really concerned, so they did MRIs of his head, and they just said, no, he just has a big
He
head.
was in a 99 percentile.
Yeah.
My children all were, and you know
Yeah.
what my doctor told me?
What?
Right.
That more room for brains. Be smart.
Okay,
My doctor
well,
told-
let's
he was
hope.
serious at the time. I don't know.
Well, then he looked up at my daughter and he said, hey, you know what? You've got a big head too. And my daughter called me on the way home. Oh my God, I have a big head. Okay. Okay, so next is going to do the pause. We're going to go ahead and skip that.
So that white, what is that white you're doing?
Which white? Oh, this is the blaze on the Boston's head
okay,
right
I
here.
see it. I
Yeah,
see it now.
yeah, right
Okay.
here.
I didn't
Yeah,
know
see
what
it?
you
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's this
So
part.
yeah, so we're stitching this part right here. Okay, and then and I'm going to skip the pause because we need to move along. So see now how it has this, it's showing you that it's going to go around the whole thing again. This is where you're going to take your topper. I had a new piece of topper somewhere here. That was it. No, this was a used piece of topper. Yeah, it was here. It was right on there. Oh, it fell down. Okay, I gotcha.
That's what I figured it might be.
Okay, here it is. So I think we put the rough side down. I'm pretty sure. And you want it to cover the whole design. And so they say if you want to have really good looking embroidery, you should always use a topper on every fabric, not just terry cloth. Most of us don't because it's not cheap. But so what they'll do is once you've used this kind of a topper, they'll trim it and they'll take a Q-tip and wet the edge and put this other piece on it and make another piece of topper so you can save it.
I have a friend that does the water.
This is the water soluble.
Yeah.
Oh, the water soluble thread. That works.
Like a zigzag.
Yeah. Okay, so we're just going to let this stitch all the way around our Boston again. And so what it's going to do is it's going to put this topper, fasten it down so that all of our satin stitches sit above the terry cloth, which is really important. You don't want your satin stitches to get buried in that terry cloth. And so obviously we would have all that trimmed, but we haven't done all the steps properly. And so this is what we end up with.
What about the heat away? No.
You can
melt
use
away.
the heat away. I know a lot of people that use the heat away. I like the dissolvable, yeah, the water soluble better. But they both work the same way, so they both tear off. And some people love that, the heat away. I just really haven't tried it. So
Well, the thought is because the wash away washes away, eventually the fabric
the stuff will come up.
through. But the melt away,
Doesn't.
it's a solid
And that's
barrier and it
yeah,
stays
and
there.
so that's why a lot of people like that. I haven't had an issue because we're doing a lot of applique, but yeah, so I just need to try it more, you know, because I'm still kind of learning like everybody else. Every time I go somewhere,
day
I
you
learn
learn
something
something
new.
new.
I know, and I love it. So I am all about trying the heat away. I just haven't done it yet. So now what it's going to do is all the rest of these stitches it's going to do are going to be satin stitches, and they are going to be sitting right on top of this, the tearaway. So now it's going to go ahead and it's going to satin stitch our blaze and everything. And then once it's done with all this, you're done. I mean,
Tape called again. This is very narrow.
it's called rescue tape.
Rescue. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
R-E-S-C-U.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so once it's done, you can just pull this off, and then you're going to pull it off of your tearaway underneath. Okay, so let me show you why that's stitching, what we're going to do next. That's why I brought this. So now you're going to have this. You're going to have your image, and I gave you 2 different Bostons on your thing. And you're going to find center, and you're going to turn right sides together like this. And you're going to go ahead and sew down here. Now, if you have a serger, this is a great time to use your serger. You can serge that edge. I don't have a serger yet, so I do a zigzag, and then I'm going to do a straight stitch. And when I get here, I go ahead and back stitch it, and then I trim this off. And now this raw edge, see, I'm going to have this seam here, so let's show you here.
I'm not sure. Yeah.
Okay, so let me show you. So here's your finish. Once you pull it off of here, it looks like this.
Yes.
So you get right sides together,
Okay.
and you're going to sew the raw edge so you close it up. Now you have a hood,
Okay.
right? and you're going to get to this bottom part. You don't want to sew over that. You want to get here and double, backspace, and then trim all this off.
So you're gonna trim off the finished
Yep,
edge.
you're going to trim off the finished edge, okay? Now
That
you're
was
going to
what I
have
was
a hood that looks like this. Now let me just run this by you just to add to some confusion. If you are doing one where you cut it down the middle, you can now double it. So if you wanted to, you could just do this, and now you're going to have a hoodie with no seam that shows, because it's going to be like this. Do you know what I'm saying? Right. Well, I did the other hoodie like that. So, okay, so now you've got this raw edge is sewn, and if you don't like this pointy top, at this stage, what you would do is just do a curved edge there. Now you have more of a, you don't have the pointed. Okay, so now you have the hoodie sewn down the middle, and you have the raw edge here. You're going to take your bath towel, and you're going to go this way and find middle. So you're going to put your, you guys know how to find middle. You're going to find middle of your towel, and you're going to lay the right sides together. So the right side of your hoodie onto the right side of the towel, and you know the right side because the tags are always on the wrong side. And you're going to pin it right in the middle, and then I just pin it all the way down both sides, and I zigzag, and I didn't do a very good job, and I should have used black thread there, but it's going to show on one side, I guess. Yeah. And then so now you have a totally finished edge. Now this one raw edge, this edge, this will be a little stretchy. Sometimes they get a little stretchy, so just ease it in, and that your towel is basically done at that point. I broke my thread.
Did you want to do the nose anyway?
No.
Yeah. Because there's nothing there.
Yeah. So and so your towel's done, and I'm going to show you guys how to fold that. So let me just show you how easy this stuff tears out. Now normally, I would have satin stitch all the way around there, but you can see how easy that just tears off, even with just a normal stitch.
Now, would you have trimmed that white?
Yes.
Before you
I would have
fold?
trimmed all this. It would have looked just like a normal,
Right.
It would have looked like this before I started satin stitching.
Okay.
And so on the hedgehog, if you want to use a terry cloth, even if you want to use a terry cloth on the Boston for the center, you totally could. Because that, this topper will protect it from getting hung up in the thing. Okay? Are there any questions? You guys understand that? Mm-hmm. You guys can make these so fast. I would bet, even if you had to pull it out and cut it, probably 40 minutes. So let me show you how to fold it for a gift over here. I just need a flat surface somewhere.
Ooh,
I know.
that's not good at our house.
We are
there.
horizontal
Over there.
surface
Over here.
challenge.
Trying to find a flat surface.
Yeah. There's one right here behind me. So
I'll
let me
find
show you.
Desiree